Hey Apartment Therapy, I'm Carrie.
And I'm Celia.
Welcome to our
530 square foot apartment in Brooklyn. I trust Carrie with all of her interior design and decor ideas. So I was like, Carrie, I know you love to do this. Here you go.
And I project.
I will be so happy to live in this space that you decorated.
Celia and I have complementary decor styles, I would say. So even though she sort of gave me the reins to decorate it, definitely wanted to keep her in mind and have this feel like a space that we were sharing, because we are, and have it feel reflective of both of us. And we actually co-own some things in here, so really makes it work. This is our living room area, and then our kitchen and entryway is over here. And then this area ended up being a good dining space. When I like to decorate spaces, my process is usually to use one thing and sort of build off of that. In this case, that was my rug, which I actually moved in here with. Making sure that everything felt cohesive around the color palette of this rug was really important. Even though this is really colorful, I always like to ground any space I decorate in black and white. I like to incorporate natural tones and wood tones. It's really important to me. So went big with this piece, which I think really balanced out the room. We needed a big piece to be a place to store stuff. That's something that Celia had communicated to me when I moved in. So these bins, which I have a bunch of them in my apartment, super multifunctional. These are from Open Spaces. This unit is from Muji. This is really popular with like beauty people, but also really good for office supplies like that. This is kind of our catch-all area for all sorts of things.
I think it has June's heart guard in there.
Yeah, dog medicine. This is literally for my retainer. Nail clippers, flower clippers.
Our favorite
lighters.
rug thing.
Yeah, we got everything. On the other side here is just a lot more storage. More of our like electronic stuff. I have a Nintendo Switch, and then some office stuff that has like my passport and things like that. I will say, if you are someone that has a pet, white couch I maybe would not recommend. I've loved the look of it, but I'm glad I tested out a white couch with a dog at a lower price point first, so just a tip. And then the pillows are from Juji Decor, super cute. I love the strange shape of them, the fact that they're not just square or circle pillows. They make me really happy, and June loves them too. Welcome to our small dining room, not really a dining room. I think that especially when you're in a tighter space trying to maneuver around a table, I think the lack of like harsh corners is really nice and just makes everything feel a little bit more fluid and easier to use. Unfortunately, when Squid and June were playing, the cat got to the chair a little bit and it's just continued to rip. So I'm actually gonna try to DIY reupholster these at some point, which will be a fun project for me. This was a bit of a challenge for me to decorate this bookshelf. I took everything that we had off and I figured out the things that I definitely wanted on the bookshelf, the things that I didn't have to have on the bookshelf, and then also put aside a bunch of decor pieces like this vessel and plants and things like that that I knew I would want to fill in with or could use. Besides that, I also think it's important to create balance with what you have and how you have it laid out. So I alternated things. I had some shelves that don't have books on them to make it feel a little lighter. And I get a lot of comments on my Zoom background when I work in front of this bookshelf. We keep our coats in here. We have a shoe rack, some storage up top. It's really multifunctional. We have basically everything we would need in here. Celia and I each have a side. We made sure all of these things fit, like the shoe rack is just long enough so that the litter box fits in here. Another thing that I'm really glad to have is also these storage units up here. There's like boxing gloves up there, my park blanket, wrapping paper. We have two big bins that have extra candles and Christmas stuff, but it's nice that we can just put them away and not think about them until we have to. Welcome to our kitchen, which is also the entryway to our apartment. This is our front door, and you walk right in here. It's a small space. This is contact paper on the countertops. This is from Etsy. It's a terrazzo print. The stone under here is black and made it feel much darker and more closed off, and this sort of brings like a light feeling up. The backsplash here is peel and stick backsplash. I also swapped out all the handles on here. These were really added out of the necessity that I collect vintage glassware and sort of hoard it, and I just like can't stop. It makes me happy. And I think that this gives it its own sort of moment. While all of the DIYs here improved sort of the look of the kitchen, this was like really the hero of the functionality part. On the bottom here, we just have another storage bin, wipes for my dog's paws and Tupperware tops and literally everything. It's like another junk drawer. But you just close it up and then you don't see anything, which I like. And then also this, I guess, ends up being our bar cart. We have some liquor on here too. I think without this, if you just had this stuff back here, it would make the kitchen feel really cluttered, and I think this really helps. Welcome to my bedroom. The first thing you'll probably notice in here is this black wall. I wanted the room to, all day and especially at night, feel cozy and like sort of, like I just wanted it to like cuddle me, sort of. And I think the black wall helps set that vibe. It's a little sexy, it's a little moody, it like really does it all. One of the most important things to me in this room was color and also lighting. I had 2 boob lights in this room, which is too many, and took one out and just put the pendant in one to make it more of a moody lighting situation. So there are a lot of different colors that are maybe not an obvious pick together, but I think they all work really nicely. I think it's important to have the same color just multiple times in the space to make it feel like it belongs. And again, grounded in neutrals. It was important to me that this space was multifunctional. So my bed is all the way on this side of the room. And then in the middle, it sort of breathes. And then here is like really my work zone. I feel like everything that I own is my favorite thing. But in this room and in my whole apartment, maybe the desk is one of my favorite things. The main thing about my bed is really the headboard. This is a really special piece to me. One, because of the color. This is probably one of my favorite colors in the world. June, as you can see, likes to nest on the bed. This dresser is probably my maybe not favorite, but proudest DIY. It was the most time-consuming, surprisingly. This is just an Ikea piece. This is from their Tarva collection, which is like the raw wood stuff. I had to take apart the whole thing, prime and paint the outside brown. I also painted the inside. Really though, the most tedious thing was adding this fabric to the drawer fronts. I wanted to make sure that like all of these corners looked really clean. That involved cutting and hot gluing and making sure that just all of this on the backside was attached to make the front look kind of seamless. The last step was just adding handles, and I planned to do this in like a day or a weekend, and it took me like a week. I actually got this from a company that does rental art pieces. It's sort of like Rent the Runway, but for artwork, and this is from a brand called Carrollo. So I'm currently renting this, but you can like rent to buy. Me and Celia are really big into under the bed storage. These are actually from her. The one thing that I didn't like about them though was that they're see-through in the front, so you can see all the clutter like from the doorway when you're walking in. I put black paper. There's no tape or anything. I just like stuck it in there in the fronts and looks so much cleaner. So this is my closet. I have these bins, again from Open Spaces, as well as a shoe rack on the bottom. And then in here, I have actually this spinning jewelry rack. One of the last things I did in this room was paint this nook. This is color matched to my headboard. Just makes the room feel more inviting and I think like a continuation of itself. Welcome to our bathroom. While the bathroom aesthetically looks nice with all the tile actually means that you can't hang anything on the walls. We had to do an above the toilet shelving unit. The bathroom is pretty basic, but tried to bring in some black and white and some colorful things and things that felt like, again, a continuation of the whole apartment.
And most importantly, we have the squatty potty, which is needed in every single apartment, which Carrie actually disliked at first, but I now think she has an appreciation for it. So if you think it's ugly, it's worth it. There are cuter ones though. There's like acrylic and wood.
There's like a bamboo one.
Yeah.
So I think
it can get cuter, but I'm partial to my ride or die squatty potty. So I was seeing these desks and tables and they were tiled, and I was looking at the prices and they were very expensive. So I kind of got the idea to maybe see if we could do it, because Carrie's a DIY queen and I'm a DIY queen in learning, I guess, or
In training.
In training, yeah. Carrie drew up a mock-up of a table on her iPad, and then we sent it to a local
Furniture fabricator, like someone who makes furniture.
And we just tiled it out in the living room.
Right there.
Yeah. I mean, I made it big because I'm working from home, and I also thought like eventually it would be a vanity. The biggest challenge in this room was honestly the lack of space. It's about 10 by 10. This is a full bed, so it's definitely tight. I am a clothing and shoe collector. So right now I do not have enough space for all of my things. I really like these hay bins. I have like 6 stacked on top of each other. I also have this wall kind of just covered basically to the brim of things. So I have this pink clothing rack, and I have, pieces that I wear more often on here, but also pieces that, go with the space. I also found this, it's an Ikea dresser. I found that on Facebook Marketplace, and I just basically switched out all of the handles for ones that I found on Etsy. Obviously, the style of the room is like super trendy and popular right now, but I think I really felt like once I tried this, I felt like me in this space, and I've tried a bunch of different aesthetics, I guess, and I do really feel like myself with this one.
By far my favorite and the most special thing to me in this apartment is really this zebra. Not only is it a conversation starter, but really on the daily it reminds me of my last apartment, which profoundly changed my life in a lot of ways. I ended up uploading a YouTube video, apartment tour of that space. It was my first time uploading on YouTube, and really the video kind of took off and blew up, and that's brought me just so many amazing opportunities, and also really sort of unlocked like this lifelong appreciation and passion that I've had for interiors and decor and things like that. So I think just seeing this every day reminds me of that space, and feels reflective and really personal, and it's just really special to me.